Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode, we are back with a game in the Europa League. Now I know we promised to show you the Fiorentina game, which we will be doing, but this Europa League game here against Arsenal was a bit too tempting to pass up on. So what we're going to be doing is showing you back-to-back games, Arsenal and Fiorentina, because both are equally important, and in the next episode we'll show you the second leg if the first leg isn't, a result that's already decided game. So of course, both games are huge. Fiorentina are in third place, while we are in fifth with a single point separating us. Inter have 62 points, obviously, compared to R1, 61, and if we're ever going to get into the top four, it's going to be by making sure that we capitalize on any mistakes Inter make, because with 4 games left to go, if we beat Fiorentina as well, we can close that gap down to 1 point as well, so it's a huge one. And with Napoli there as well, but Napoli do have, as well as Juventus, have a game in hand. So Juve are pretty much, Serie A winners, and it's going to take one hell of a job for us to make sure that we actually secure Champions League football. That's what makes the Fiorentina game really important. But of course, what makes the Europa League so important is that if we fail to make it into the top 4, if we win the Europa League, then we still make Champions League football. And just to give you an idea of what's on the line, I've promised both Matteo and Romagnoli that we will qualify for the Champions League, and they will definitely ask to leave if we don't make it. So of course, since the last episode, which was the game against Torino, I believe, we managed to lose 2-0 against Lazio as well, with the Ciro Immobile and Ricardo Rodriguez scoring own goal as well. So it was 2-0 away from home result, a disappointing one. But as you can see, improved form afterwards. So we managed to beat Ajax 3-1 at home, which pretty much set us up quite well for the away leg. But we did beat Bologna as well, 1-0 through Hakan. The away result was 3-3, which is kind of disappointing because we dominated the game and it was pretty much 3-1. And then Jose and David, they're scoring in 86th and 88th minute, with my players pretty much switched off because they thought they were going through for sure. And even though they did score those goals, our 3 away goals pretty much set us up, as well as our nice little home result too. Against Crotone, we managed to also continue in this nice little away form. Lucas and Andre Silva both scoring, and our own player Patrick scoring for his team in the 68th minute. And I can't wait to have this guy back because he's had one hell of a season for Crotone. There you go, 24 goals and 37 appearances. Pretty much tells its own story. So if you have a look at the Serie A, he's also leading the goal scoring chart. So once he's back, he's definitely going to be an important player for us. Sampdoria was a disappointing draw as well, but we managed to put that behind us with the win against Cagliari with a 3-0 away from home. Kalinic, Bonici and Bonaventura all on the score sheet. Now, as you can tell, or if you couldn't tell, we've changed our tactics midway through the season, which was never ideal, but after this poor run of form here, something had to be done, and now we're undefeated since changing our tactics. After the Lazio game, I said that's enough, and I switched things around, and we managed to finally pick up some points. So we've basically gone for a direct attacking style of playing. So we've gone on control, we've gone with more direct passing, and we've used the offside trap. I prefer a team shape of structured usually, and I try to keep the roles as comfortable as my players like it. So we've gone with deep line playmaker and box-to-box midfield combo. We've gone with a complete forward on support, which is actually Andre Silva's preferred, and also it suits our tactic a hint more. The supporting man, and then he can play the wingers through on the inside forward on attacks, who'll be making runs for us. Basically, when you want to play direct attacking football, you want a bunch of crossers, you want a bunch of shooters, you want a bunch of dribbling, and you just want to play direct as much as possible. So unfortunately, we don't have crossers, which is why we've used try to exploit the flanks a bit more to try and see if they can cross a bit more for us. We also want to look for crosses from deep, and that way, when you cross earlier, you're more direct in that sense, and that's why we've got the fullbacks on support here. We couldn't play with wing backs, and either way, my players are a hint more suited to fullbacks, and so we've gone with that as well. I've realized the team shape of fluid helps us work a bit better than we have when we're playing on structured. So the fluid shape seems to have been helping us out basically. And that's kind of it. We've just gone for a standard backline. I wasn't too much of a fan of the stopper cover combo because we are trying to play an offside trap, so it doesn't make sense that some players were pushed up ahead of others. And I think so far, it seems to be working for us. Definitely next season, we're going to be switching formations again. I think a 5-2-3-1 isn't the best in terms of being direct because we have too many defensive options. We want to stick an extra man up front. And bearing in mind that Nicola as well as Andre Silva are leading players for the division. They're quite good. We've also got the likes of Baka coming back from his loan spell, and also the player we mentioned earlier from Croton. If he comes back, we've got our 4 strikers who are pretty much all leading quality in the Serie A, and so we need to at least make sure that we use 2 of them. And so I'm going to go with the 4-2-4 formation with not 2 central midfielders. I feel like that's going to be too exposing. We're going to go for 2 DMs, I think, because Kessie and Lucas are both very comfortable. But anyways, this is the team that we're going for right now, and since we've got back-to-back games, we kind of want to get into things quite quickly. This is pretty much everyone available other than Ricardo Montolivo, who's out for 2 months now. Or a maximum of 2 months. He picked up a nasty little hip injury in the last game, and so unfortunately doesn't make it. All these players here are out on loan at the moment. I've just moved them up to the first team so I don't forget to deal with them in the future. A couple of them will, actually not just a couple, it's pretty much just Carlos Bacca, who's good enough to still remain on our team, is considered the leading Serie A player and an experienced striker as well. He's going to be at our club for a little bit longer, until 2021 I think. His loan spell ends in 2018, so why not make use of him and play him. He definitely suits our tactic. He can play as an advanced forward, he can play as a complete forward if need be, and so we're going to try and take advantage of that. Everyone else we kind of just want to sell off and move on at the earliest opportunity, and see how that goes. And here's the team that we're going for, and we're sticking to the same tactics. It's going to be against Arsenal, so playing direct will help us a bit more, but at the same time it's going to be a bit tough to try and keep a strong Arsenal side out of our team. So if we can just bring on Borini on the bench and get into today's game. Obviously players are still adjusting to tactics. Like I mentioned, it's never nice to switch tactics halfway through the season, but it was clear as day that our old tactics weren't working anymore. So that's kind of it. I think Arsenal are very attacking 4-2-3-1 as expected. They've still got Sanchez on World Cup because of course I started the save just before the January transfers were dealt with, so they do still have a huge chunk of their good players. They're playing with Ben Gibson in he's actually captaining as well. That's quite surprising, but if we can try and exploit him and possibly Coughlin as well, who are maybe the weaker parts of the side, but I think with a 3-man backline and just a single striker, we should be able to deal with their threat relatively well. We are the wayside, so any goals will be welcome, but we just have to try and make sure that Arsenal don't score too many either. We're going to go on key highlights for today's game, not extended. Normally we like to have extended, but because we're showing 2 games, we need to try and keep things going as quickly as possible so it's not a long episode. Alright then, away from home, not favourites, got nothing to lose, so I'm going to try and tell them to keep things going as is. We've got mostly, you know, starting 11 sides, so a couple of players who are normally backups I suppose, but we should still have a decent enough side to try and challenge Arsenal. Particularly our front 3 are going to be really important in today's game. I'm hoping to see the inside forwards hit them on the counter attack as much as possible, and I'm hoping our back 3, well pretty much our back 5 because the full backs are there, not wing backs, can stop Arsenal from being the, you know, attacking possession based style team that we know they are. Alexis Sanchez cuts in early and gets a shot away, which isn't nice to see. We've also got Rajkovic in goal instead of Donnarumma, of course. Rajkovic is our cup goalkeeper. I know, you know, the deeper you get into competition, the more you're tempted to play your starting 11 goalkeeper, but I feel like I've kept faith of them all around. This is the only time he's ever going to get an opportunity to develop, and so Donnarumma's just going to have to deal with Rajkovic being in goal. So early stages don't look too good for us. I feel like we're going to grow into the game, but at the moment we might need some help, so I'm going to look to be a bit more direct by passing into space and hitting the early crosses. I think we can run at defense as well and see if that helps us get into the game a bit more. But yeah, playing on a standard tactic and a shorter passing one clearly didn't really work with us, not only because of the formation, but at the same time we're a strong team in the division. We should be, you know, playing to the advantage of our strength and not just playing this sort of neutral tactic. We should be looking to try and take the game to our opponents a bit more, and as you can see we're not doing that here, but it's a good thing to see that there's no real highlights from Arsenal's side of things, and if we can keep a clean sheet then maybe we can do it at home. But let's go with this one here with underdogs, so I can't really tell them off for not doing anything, but it looks like Nicola is struggling with the game, so as soon as we can we will be bringing on Silva. Everyone else has kind of had a quiet or solid game otherwise, but I do feel we can go on attacking as well and try and exploit. You know, the more we score away goals, the better for us. But we're moving the ball a bit better this half, so let's see if we can keep that up. Poor ball from Kessie though there. There was a nice little bit of triangles being made there, and we need to see something similar in the second half. Maybe we're being a bit too direct, which is why we're not creating anything, so I'm going to switch things around instead and work the ball into the box. Normally I like to look for the overlap, but since we don't have our fullbacks overlapping our wingers at the moment, we look for the underlap, and that is basically our inside forwards looking for, or our complete forward as well, looking for the inside forwards who make the run instead. Let's see if it will help us tactically a little bit more, because at the moment, I know Arsenal having, you know, they're not exactly dominating us. They're having a ton of shots, but they're all out of the box shots, I'm assuming anyways, because it's not on target. But anyway, 60 minutes, so let's make some changes. Nicola and Bonaventura are definitely the players to go, and let's see whether that will help us. As a highlight before I've even made those changes, Zapata's cleared it, but it's only gone to Coquelin. Tell me it's a stupid long range shot, please. Ramsey, Lacazette's in there, and thankfully that was probably the only time Arsenal looked dangerous. No real highlights in today's game, so I guess it's kind of boring for the fans in the stadium to see, but works in our favour either way. Alright, so let's make another substitution. We can probably take off Locatelli. He's had a good game though, so I'm kind of hesitant to do that. And Kessie's there too. We can bring off Barini for Suso, or Lucas, who's the first choice instead of Locatelli, but considering he's had a good game, I think I'll just keep him on a hint more. And win the ball back initially well. Silva just has to look for the underlap like we've asked him to, but he's going all the way by himself. Let's just hope he... Okay, there you go. He does lose it either way. If he can win it back now, that'd be great. Anyways, Arsenal keeping the ball well. Coming at us once more. They do have a extra man in midfield to help them deal with the ball, but I'm hoping our extra man in defence, which has helped us so far, will continue helping us. Piatti, he's dropped deep for it. Xhaka's there. Careful with the runners. Ozil. You know, as an inside forward on attack, they're rarely going to track their fullbacks, so I can understand that, the opposition fullbacks, but so far, you know, I think we're dealing them well. Rodriguez there, Kessie. We're just not getting the second balls at all, and I think we can do a bit better there. With Arsenal struggling to really break us down, but the looks of things, they're eventually going to do it. Ozil's there. Is he going to go for the shot that works for us? Oh, it's a penalty, Locatelli. You just talked about it. We just discussed about how great of a game he's had. And now we need our goalkeeper to do something special. Never going to say that. That's top bins from Arsenal and Lacazette. So I think now is the time to take off Locatelli then. Bring on Lucas. See whether the deep line playmaker can do more. A bit risky because Kessie's on a yellow and Suso could probably do with a bit of a change as well. But I feel like after that, just proves that Locatelli was feeling tired a bit too much to our liking. I think we're going to try and be a bit more expressive and roam from our positions to help us take apart this Arsenal team. But at the moment, 2 shots and 3 shots now, and 1 on target for a 75 period. Doesn't look too good, but at least it's growing in stature at the moment. Can we change the game at all? Let's go into overload. Let's take more risks as well. No, nothing. Alright, there you go. Let's see what happens. Tell me it's in our favour, not Arsenal's. Piatti. Collins tries to do the overlap, but doesn't work too well. Suso goes immediate to Hakan, and that's the kind of ball that we want to see more from. If Hakan's pass was a bit better, we would have set Silva free. So that's a bit disappointing, but if we can get back into our shape now, we can try and hit them on the counter again. Lacazette though, outside of the wing. Ramsey picks up the second ball again. Now another chance for Arsenal to get at us. Ozil. German playmaker. Piatti. Stop the cross. That's all that we need. Bonici's there. Xhaka, Kosnic, Ramsey. They're working the ball well here. Giroud's free. And thankfully he's blasted that over. And I think working the ball into the box and looking for the overlap is no longer going to help us. Let's try and be a bit more direct again. In the last few moments of the game, they're still being quite attacking. So if we can hit them on the counter like we were doing earlier, we might be in with a better chance. But clock is ticking and that looks like it's going to be the end of that. No away goal to help us at home. But the good news is that Arsenal have only scored 1 unless something happens here, which I'm really hoping doesn't. We've got the ball through Silva. He needs to look for the runners now if he holds it up well. decent ball, but the better option would have been to find his teammate there who's free and check and just clear that, lob it all the way forward. Rodriguez, Kessie, take your time. Nope, he just tries to hit it forward instead. We are on overload and we are in the take more risks, so it makes sense that, you know, he tries those type of passes. But anyways, if it is just 1-0, then we can try and get the business done in our own stadium. And of course, Arsenal only managed to score 1 goal here, and I think they kind of struggled. You know, it was only through a penalty, through a stupid mistake of our own. So we've done well to keep them out to a degree. And I think we can definitely try and do it in the second leg, but it is going to be a bit of a job to do. Some of the players have underperformed. Alright then. We went favourites. I don't know whether to tell them off or not, but I didn't tell them off at half time, so maybe tell them off, but in a calm way would be a decent way to do it. Need to get them fired up for the Fiorentina game anyways. It's a must-win one if we want any hopes of getting the Champions League spots, because Arsenal are a big threat to our Europa League chances. The board expect the final, and if we get knocked out in the semi-final, even though it is Arsenal, they will be a bit upset. Looks like the other game, which is Lyon and Napoli, hasn't gone too well. There's a tiny bit of an update as well, which is that we've signed our first player for the summer, and that is Ander Herrera. We managed to get him from United for free. It's a very decent transfer. He's actually taken, we're only spending 50k wages on him per month. I've, you know, offered him a rotational option only, even though he's a leading Serie A player. I thought Kessie's our main choice player. Herrera, though, too good for us to pass up on. He's a leading player, like I mentioned. He'll slot into our side as a box-to-box midfielder. No worries at all. Very decent signing, considering we got him for free. Why not? And so he's going to join us hopefully at the end of the summer, with us not having spent a single penny on him. Peak years as well, so I think it's quite a decent signing. Our backup, which is Montolivo, we're going to try and move him on. He's the backup to Kessie, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's on more wages than Herrera is either way. So yeah, there you go, 80k. But yeah, considering our finances are in poor state and the board don't seem to have any interest in improving it, I think we're going to have to rely on signing free transfers and loanees for a while here, especially because we've got a ton of debt and it's not going away anytime soon until 2025. Projections don't look too good either. Look at our transfer budget. We have to deal with this for a while, so let's see how it goes. But anyways, that's all for the moment. We will be back with the game against Fiorentina, and hopefully it goes better than it has gone against Arsenal. And we're back for the game against AC Milan. So we've made a couple of changes. I think you would notice them, but for example, Calabria's come into the side instead. I think Conte struggled in last game. He's you know, I think he can do a bit better, so maybe dropping him for today will you know, extract a tiny bit more from him. We've also thrown Lucas back into the side after Locatelli. Locatelli's been quite decent. I don't think he necessarily enjoys the deep line playmaker role. He is of course better as an advanced playmaker, but there's no real opportunity to play him in this team as an advanced playmaker. There's just no real role for him, I suppose, in our tactic. But we've also thrown Hakan back into the side as well. Silva, both Bonaventura and Nicola were disappointing in the last game, so let's try and see whether these two can come in and do a better job against the side who we desperately need to beat. And just to give you an idea, Serie A, we are in 5th and they're still in 3rd. Most of the teams have played their game in hand. Inter have lost theirs, so if we do win our game, we're back into the Champions League spots, and you know, back into the fans' good graces, I suppose. But very important basically today, and I think, you know, we just have to do everything possible to try and win today against Fiorentina. Alright, so I think we can go ahead and kick off, let the players warm up and see how Fiorentina set up. So another 4-2-3-1 formation. We dealt with Arsenal's one fairly well, but we're going to have a different type of striker to deal with here. I feel like Babacar is a very good player in Football Manager in general, but also in real life, and I think his stats are just incredible. He really is a perfect complete forward. Lacking a bit in vision. I think in previous FM versions he was a bit better, but he very much is someone to keep an eye on, and I hope we can deal with this threat. We've got 3 players, 3 excellent central defenders, and we'll see whether they can do that. So we're still with the same formation, and just a couple of changes to see whether we can get a little bit more. We're not favourites for today, so let's try and encourage the players. Let's go with that. Morale's not at its best, but we do have decent morale. I'm hoping for a quick, early, direct start to the game, but it is Fiorentina who get us going. And they don't look like they're messing about either, so let's let them... It's alright, they can keep passing about like that, as long as once it comes in our defensive third, we deal with the threat well. Alright then. Nothing. I was hoping for a little bit of a dominating win, but by the looks of things, neither side is having any too great of chances. But Donnarumma is going to get us going with a goal kick. If Silva can knock this down to one of his teammates, that'd be great, but he's outnumbered. Kuma's there for his team, and Lofaso ready with the yellow card. If we can get him sent off, that'd be perfect. Try and close them down, doesn't work too well, but Suso puts in an excellent tackle, and he's gone really far back to pick up his own ball, but we're moving about really well. Silva's there. We need that overlapping run from the inside forwards whenever Silva wins the ball, so we need to see a bit more runs like that. A bit ambitious from Lucas, or was it Kessie? Either way, I'm gonna have to stop Fiorentina's attack once more, and they're a bit more determined now. Saporna, I was hoping he wouldn't play that through, and he has, and of course Huma, the player that we told you guys to keep an eye on, is the one to score. And if you can have a look here, everyone pretty much gets drawn towards Sapornara, and overall it's very poor defending. It's got nothing to do with the tactics, just silly decision making. You've got a perfect back five here, he shouldn't be going anywhere. The midfielders are dropping back to try and stop him, and once he holds the ball up here, both the midfielders cover him, which is alright, and then everyone gets drawn here to Sapornara right here. Musacchio makes the stupidest decision ever. You have to say Bonucci should do a bit better. There's about 4 players trying to run onto him, and Bonucci can't cover him down in time. We've got Donnarumma back in goal as well. Unfortunately, you couldn't do anything about that either, but overall, just poor defending. You have to question some of the players' decision making there, because that was quite disappointing. But either way, we seem to be edging possession a bit more, and shots could definitely do some work, but either way, gonna get a set piece here. Let's see what we can do. Musacchio rises and he almost scores. Apparently it's an absolute sitter. I'm not sure why the game considers that a clear-cut chance. I don't think it was necessarily a free header, but you can definitely, at least get that on target and see what the goalkeeper can do. But anyways, Fiorentina with their own set piece. Ooh, Matteo does well there. Now we can try and hit them on the counter. If Kessie can do something smart here. He's taking it all the way by himself, but he eventually finds Akan. He has to find some of our runners. Kessie's still going as a box-box midfielder. Can he finish? Not like that. He could, if he couldn't take the chance, he should just squared it. Some encouraging play for us to consider being a bit more direct by passing into space and whatnot. I don't think work ball into the box like against Arsenal would help us here. I think we can be a bit more direct, and we'll try and do that in the second half. But first, definitely need to tell our players off, because after all the good form, I think they're camera shy, because at the moment I'm not proving that my tactics have any type of effect, even though I've done that previously. So let's see if we can make some changes. You know what, we'll do it. Alright, so let's go into attacking, that's for one. And I think pass into space, hit early crosses and run at the fence is the way to go for now. I don't think we need to work the ball into the box a bit more. The players are definitely enjoying being a bit more direct, but yeah, Kessie's free here. If you can just find Akan, instead he just goes all the way back. Such unusual decisions. I'm hoping that pass into space will encourage him to take that risk a bit more. But we'll see whether that makes any change in the second half. Maybe we will have to consider toning it down a bit more. But again, our central forward, Silva, struggling in a very similar manner to the way Nicola was. And everything in our tactics starts with our central forward. And they're very suited to complete forward role. Vision's there, passing's there, heading's there, jumping's there. Everything you need from a complete forward is there. But he's still struggling to have an impact on the game. And maybe we need him to play as a complete forward on attack and have our inside forwards finding him, but let's see what we can do. So Kessie definitely needs to come off. We'll bring on Locatelli and play him as a roaming playmaker. And I think Silva's another one to go, and let's see if Nicola can do a bit of a better job. No, apparently not. Maybe working the ball is a better way to do things. Let's look for the underlap. Let's get rid of these. Suso for Barini. Please tell me that's the right change to make. Hakan at least proving his worth, for what it's worth, I suppose. But maybe a support role for my strikers hasn't really worked in today's game. Potentially they need to occupy the centre backs instead. I didn't feel like they needed to, because they are, of course, just playing two central defenders, no defensive midfielder, so there's no need for him to, you know, if he drops, he'll drag one of the central midfielders away, but instead it doesn't seem to really be working. If I play the fullbacks on attack to overlap our inside forwards, then now I have to ask them to cross from deep in a way that is not necessarily natural for them. It's not good to see Rodriguez struggling today either. See if that helps a bit more. I'm going to overload as well. Take more risks. There is a bit of a highlight here. Is it going to be in our favour? We need at least a draw. A loss is not going to help us, because then we haven't capitalised on Inter's result at all. But I think at least it means we still stay in 5th, if that's any consolation. But today, our attack has disappeared entirely. Donnarumma with the ball. Can he find anyone? Hakan. Locatelli's there. Decent ball to Nicola. He has won it. He's going to go by himself. Nope, he finds Barini. Can he square it? Goes for the shot himself quite stupidly. And to be fair to Fiorentina, that was a good save. And let's see if we can get any more out of this from the set piece. Bonucci. Free kick given. Apparently he must have pushed someone or something, but for a second I thought it was a penalty in our favour. Highlight continues. Apparently not. Nope. Alright then. I think complete forward on attack has helped us grow into the game a bit more, so that has worked in our favour, but maybe this isn't necessarily, so let's do that again. I think we're short on time for any sort of tactical change to have an effect, but with 40 seconds left, there's every bit of hope that we can still do it, but not like that. Sanchez, Benassi, they would do well to just keep the ball here, Fiorentina, because if we win it back, we're going to go right back at them. They are keeping it well, to be fair to them, until I curse them, and Calabria can get us going. Early ball forward to Nicola, heads it down well to Barini. He's already doing a better job. Oh, it's a free kick, he's offside. Great, so that's the end of that. 1-0 losses in both our games. Our attack has absolutely disappeared for both fixtures. And that is not good to see. Obviously, playing direct means, you know, next season formation where we play with a 4-2-4 will definitely help. They'll have tons of support, and we can be as direct as we want, because we'll have 2 strikers forward and 2 defensive midfielders to cover to make up for such an attacking formation. But at the moment, 2 losses has absolutely turned our form around, and I can't actually get player of the match despite being on the losing team. But not good enough. Apparently we were favourites after all, so that's a bit of my mistake, but the players should do better. It's almost like they don't want Champions League football at all. Still adjusting to the tactics, to be fair, but more was expected. At least one result going in our way, but hopefully the next episode will actually give us a nice little result against Arsenal as well. So yeah, that's when we'll be back against Arsenal at home. If we can beat them 2-0, it'll be perfect. I have to try and keep a goalless, not concede at all, or otherwise we have to score 3 goals, and it's going to be a bit tough after today's 2 games. But anyways, that's all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, of course, please hit the like button and subscribe for more Daily Football Manager 2018 content. Of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, guys, thank you all very much for watching.